All right, let's dive into Key West. Is it really paradise, especially if you're watching your budget? We're using a blog post from Traveling in My 70s to see if this island lived up to the hype.
Key West tries to be both an artist haven and a party spot. Could it pull it off? I'm ready to see what our traveler found.
Well, they definitely found that bohemian vibe. Think colorful houses, friendly people, and that island time feeling.
That's a big draw, right? Feeling like you're somewhere different. But popularity can mean high prices.
Exactly. Our blogger was surprised at the cost of almost everything. Accommodations, food, activities. It adds up.
That's a challenge for so many tourist spots. How do you keep things affordable for everyone?
It's a good thing our blogger is a savvy traveler. They even found a shop selling sweatshirts for $5.
Now that's what I call a win. Finding those little things makes a trip more fun and budget-friendly. You don't need luxury to have a good time. It makes you wonder, though, how can people enjoy Key West without going broke?
That's where your expertise comes in. Any tips for enjoying Key West on a budget?
Well, traveling during the off-season is a classic for a reason. Fewer crowds, better prices. Shoulder seasons like spring and fall, they often have great weather without all the tourists.
Makes sense. What else can we do?
Live like a local. Find free concerts, explore less touristy areas, go to community events. It's more authentic and often free. You find those hidden gems.
Talking about hidden gems, our blogger was impressed by Key West's natural beauty. Gorgeous sunsets, clear water, those coral reefs.
The Florida Keys have a truly special ecosystem. Did you know there are something like 6,000 types of marine life? You could see amazing coral, maybe swim with colorful fish. It's a dream for anyone who likes to snorkel or dive.
But paradise can get a little crowded, right? Our blogger talked about watching the sunset at Mallory Square. It's a Key West tradition, but it was packed.
Mallory Square is iconic, but all those people can make it less peaceful. If you want a quieter sunset, go to Higgs Beach, or maybe Fort Zachary Taylor State Park. Stunning views, but fewer people.
A quieter sunset sounds great. Now, about those coral reefs, can you see them without running into tons of other snorkelers?
If you're up for an adventure, there's Dry Tortugas National Park. It's a bit further out, but the reefs there are amazing and secluded. It might cost a bit more to get there, but you get unspoiled beauty, and you can swim in a moat of a 19th century fort.
Swimming in a fort's moat, that's something I'd love to see. But yeah, that kind of trip takes time and money. What about things to do right in Key West?
Well, Key West is full of history, and you could feel it just walking through Old Town. Just picture yourself walking past those beautiful old houses. Some of them are from the 1800s.
I love exploring like that, just soaking it all in. Our blogger did visit the Hemingway home, but they mentioned the ticket price. Is it worth the cost?
Hemingway Home is a fascinating look at a famous writer's life. But for budget travelers, Key West has a ton of free stuff. Like the Key West Cemetery is really interesting. The tombs and the funny writing on them are a peek into the island's past.
A cemetery with funny writing. That's a new one.
It's truly unique. And honestly, just walking through Old Town, seeing the buildings, feeling the energy, that's a cultural experience in itself.
Okay, so we've got history and culture down. What about Key West's nightlife?
You mean Duval Street.
A blogger said it was a little too wild for them. Is it all crazy parties, or are there calmer options?
Duval Street is definitely the party central. You've got places like Sloppy Joe's, which Hemingway himself used to go to, and Margaritaville, of course. But there's more to Key West's nightlife than that.
So are there any hidden gems for those of us who don't want a super crazy night out?
For something really special, try Blue Heaven. Imagine live music under the stars, beautiful plants everywhere, that Caribbean smell in the air. They even have a rooster that walks around.
Live music and a rooster. Now, before we move on, let's talk about food. Our blogger was hoping for amazing food, but wasn't totally blown away. What do you think?
Key West's food is a mix of everything. Fresh seafood, Caribbean spices, Cuban food, and of course, key lime pie. But I think what you expect makes a difference. Sometimes a place is so hyped up it's hard to live up to it, especially in Key West.
That's true. Any specific restaurants or dishes you'd recommend to get that real Key West taste? Places that actually live up to the hype?
For something local, you have to try B.O.'s Fish Wagon. Their fish sandwiches are great. It's got that Key West charm. And you can't leave without trying key lime pie. Kernit's Key West Key Lime Shop is the real deal. They even have key lime pie on a stick.
Key lime pie on a stick. I'll have to see that. We'll be back in a bit to talk about the practical stuff, like getting around and those great restaurants we mentioned. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Roberta Hill here, and I hope you're enjoying this particular podcast about my recent trip to Key West, as well as the interpretation and added value of our hosts, Dave and Jan. Remember, you can read my own personal stories at robertahill.com. Thanks. Now let's get back to the show.
Key lime pie on a stick. Okay, I'm sold. But before we all get sugar cravings, let's get back to Key West. We've covered the vibe, nature, history, nightlife, even the food. But what about actually doing stuff? Our traveling in my 70s blogger wanted to snorkel in Dry Tortugas National Park but ran out of time and money. Expert speaker, can you describe it for us? Is it really that amazing?
Dry Tortugas is. Well, imagine this. Crystal clear water, you're snorkeling, amazing coral everywhere, tons of fish. And then you look up and there's this giant Fort Jefferson, right out of the water. It's from the 1800s. You've got incredible nature and history all in one place. You won't find that anywhere else.
Wow, that sounds unbelievable. Swimming in a moat surrounded by coral reefs, I'm adding that to my list. But realistically, not every trip is that long or expensive. Our blogger mentioned fishing, paddleboarding, biking, but they said Key West doesn't have those huge sandy beaches some people expect.
Right. Key West isn't your typical beach vacation. The beaches are smaller, but it's all about that island life. Imagine kayaking through mangroves, the sun shining through the leaves, super peaceful. Or a sunset cruise, the wind in your hair, watching the sky change colors. Even just swimming in the ocean is great.
It sounds like Key West makes you slow down and enjoy the simple things. But there's that famous sunset celebration at Mallory Square. Lots of people, but it must be an amazing thing to see.
It really is. Imagine this. Street performers, some of them juggling fire, people selling crafts, music playing, and the sun setting over the ocean. It's super lively, totally Key West. But yeah, get ready to be shoulder to shoulder with people.
Good to know. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. How about the practical stuff? Our blogger mentioned that parking was a pain. Expensive, narrow streets, not great for cars.
Parking can be tough, especially when it's busy. But here's the thing. You can walk almost everywhere in Key West. Once you're at your hotel, ditch the car, explore on foot, rent a bike, or take the trolley. It's fun and easy.
The blogger had a good tip. They use Lyft to get around.
That's a great idea, especially if you're staying further out or want to explore different parts of the island. No parking stress.
So we've really covered a lot. The good, the bad, the pricey side of Key West. But the big question is it right for you?
That's the thing, isn't it? People have strong opinions about Key West. Some love it, others find it too crowded, too touristy, or too expensive.
Our blogger seemed to be somewhere in the middle. They liked the unique things, but also saw the downsides. What kind of traveler would really love Key West? And who might want to go somewhere else?
I think someone who loves Key West is, well, they're okay with things being different. They don't mind crowds. They like trying new things. They appreciate history and culture. And they're willing to spend a little extra on things that'll make great memories. They're the kind of person who gets excited about finding a hidden cafe or talking to a local artist.
Makes sense. What about people who might feel overwhelmed by Key West? Are there similar places, but a little more relaxed?
If you want a totally quiet beach vacation, Key West might not be it. But there are other islands in the Keys, like Islamorada or Marathon, that are more about nature and relaxing. Imagine yourself in a hammock, palm trees overhead, just listening to the waves. Or kayaking on clear water, maybe seeing dolphins and sea turtles. Those islands have a different kind of magic, all about disconnecting and getting back to nature.
Sounds like the Florida Keys have something for everyone, but even beyond the Keys, there are so many places to travel for all kinds of budgets and interests.
Totally. Do your research, think about what you like, and pick a place that matches what you want in a vacation.
So true. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Key West, what are your thoughts so far? Anything that really caught your attention?
Honestly, it's that mix of laid-back island life and, the tourist scene. You've got charming streets and huge crowds. It's interesting.
I know, two sides of the same place. Maybe that's the trick to Key West, finding that balance for yourself. When to join the crowds, when to look for those quieter moments.
That's it. It's not about doing Key West a certain way. It's about making your own experience, whether it's drinks on the beach or exploring history.
So be open to the quirky stuff, the unexpected, the little things that make a trip special. Maybe you run into a street performer juggling fire, or you chat with a local fisherman about where to fish.
Or maybe you're wearing that $5 sweatshirt watching the sunset over the ocean. It's about being open to whatever Key West brings.
I love that. Making your own adventure.
Now that we've done this deep dive into Key West, what kind of adventure would you create there?
Margaritas at sunset. Exploring old forts. Snorkeling with colorful fish. Maybe hunting for $5 souvenirs like our blogger.
Whatever you do, the real magic of Key West is in those unexpected moments, the things you discover, the unique experiences you make for yourself.
And don't forget to check out the show notes. We've got links to all kinds of helpful things about Key West. Transportation tips, those hidden gem restaurants, and off-the-beaten-path attractions we talked about.
We've got everything you need to plan your own Key West trip.
So until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep finding those hidden gems wherever you go.
And remember, sometimes the best adventures are the ones you don't plan.